Today we are going to make a little bit healthier recipe, and it's Megan's version of a chocolate chip zucchini bread. And when she found this recipe, and it's kind of fun with our kids who never cooked the whole time they were basically at home growing up.
Well, they had a good mom that did all the cooking for them.
I guess.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of fun. Megan's sharing a lot of recipes with us.
Yes, they're taking
that lead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you can start. We're going to first mix all the wet ingredients in this bowl, and you're going to whisk those, the wet ones.
Really? Okay.
And then I will do the dry ingredients.
All right.
Okay. So you will start by putting in. Now we're going to double the recipe. Okay. So we're going to have 1 cup of unsweetened applesauce, and I've got a scraper there for you.
Okay.
And one recipe called for 1/2 cup of honey, but Megan said about 3/4 of a cup instead for a double recipe. So, so 3/4 cup of honey, trying to make it a little bit less sweet, but still very good.
And honey is a nice natural means of
sugar.
Your sugar for those that need sugar.
Okay, and then we're going to have 2 eggs. You can just put those in there.
Dump those in.
And we are going to have 2/3 cup of melted coconut oil. Okay, so it actually comes in a jar that is it's like shortening.
It's solidified.
Solidified. And then you're going to mix it up. Heat it. Okay.
Heat it first before you put it in.
Right, and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So you can whisk all of that, okay, with your whisk over there.
Okay.
And then to make it a little bit healthier, instead of using the whole wheat mixture of a whole wheat flour, Megan decided to grind oatmeal. Okay. So I took just regular oatmeal, put that in my food processor, and we're going to have 3 cups of ground oatmeal. Okay. And if you're grinding it, it's actually about 3 3/4 cups, okay?
Right.
That gives me my 3 cups.
Right.
2 teaspoons.
So 3 cups of finished.
3 cups of finished,
oatmeal.
right. Okay, so 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. It called for a little bit more, but Megan's not a big nutmeg lover, so she did that.
And I love nutmeg. I put it in
so you can put more in.
My hot lattes, I do that all the time.
Sure, okay, 2 teaspoons baking powder.
Okay.
1 teaspoon baking soda, and about 1 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to stir all of this in. And then we're going to then slowly add our dry mixture into the wet mixture.
So
okay?
I whisk while you slowly dump it in?
And what I'm going to let you do, instead of whisking it, which I think just makes it kind of messy, does it make it messier, harder to whisk? Is it okay?
Too bad.
Okay, because otherwise you could just stir it in too if you want. Okay, so we'll just slowly add this, and then just keep whisking.
There.
Okay. Collect all my bowls here.
So you get kind of a
especially
thick,
if you're
looking substance when you're done.
If you have a lot of zucchini, it's a great way of using up your zucchini.
Right.
Because you did not plant any zucchini and nobody gave us any yet this year. I just took some from the freezer.
Right.
So to this mixture, you would have 2.5 cups of zucchini. But bringing it out of the freezer, I had a container with probably 4 cups in it. And this is what we ended up getting.
Comes down to about 2 cups, yeah.
So then we're going to fold in the zucchini, which would be 2.5 cups if you're using fresh and grated.
Right.
Okay, and just leave the green on there. Otherwise, take it out of your freezer if it's been in there for months or a year.
And
it's
I squeeze
still
the moisture
good.
out of it, otherwise it could get a little bit wet.
Squeeze out the moisture when you're using frozen, but just use the fresh, and you don't have to squeeze.
Then you don't squeeze the
Okay,
fresh.
so did you want to
kind
of take it apart a little bit?
Yeah, I did that already before we got started here, but it's pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good to go in.
So we're going to have 2.5 cups of zucchini, 3/4 of a cup of chopped walnuts, and 1.5 cups of chocolate chips.
That's what makes it the best.
It does. It makes it nice and chocolatey.
It's all about eating healthy, and we were doing well.
And I
Dump in
put
the chocolate
semi-sweet
chips.
in. The recipe actually calls for dark chocolate chips. I didn't have any on hand.
Yeah.
So,
that works
so if
too.
you want it a little bit healthier, then use dark chocolate chips, okay?
So this is really a simple recipe.
It is. And the recipe also calls for using an 8-inch square pan. These are more like a 9-inch rectangle.
A bread pan.
Bread pan, okay? We have it coated with shortening.
Okay.
And then what I like to do, just to safeguard my breads, because sometimes that bread does not want to come out and it's really frustrating, especially if you're making bread to take to a friend or for some occasion.
You wanna
And it's
put a little
really
Crisco in there,
frustrating.
too?
So I've
They've already had
it
Crisco on it, so now
Crisco,
you're just gonna put a little more
and then
on the
just cut
parchment.
a piece. I have like parchment, like so, and then you can just take. I actually ended up getting like 4 different amounts,
Okay.
4 different sheets.
Cut them to fit.
Okay, and when I do my little mini loaves, I always put parchment in there too, because I have had.
Saves a lot of frustration.
It
of not
does. A
coming
lot
out.
of experiences where they didn't come out. And it's just too much time and effort put into it when you're busy and you want it to turn out just right. And then we're just going to use 2 loaf pans. I have the oven preheated at 350 degrees while we're doing this for 45 minutes.
Light on here.
Okay. And now I just happened to make 2 other ones already this morning, and this is how they come out of your pans. So they're still a little bit warm. And then we just happened to make our first one actually yesterday, because we had not made the recipe. We had it at Megan's, which we enjoyed very much, but we had not actually made it. So I put it in the refrigerator, like a lot of breads. You know, when you have apples or zucchini or, bananas, I often will just put them in the refrigerator to keep them fresh. And last night when we had it, it was actually out of the oven. And you said, boy, I wish we had some ice cream.
Ice cream would go great.
So
We
it-
did have a little bit of whipped cream.
A bit of whipped cream.
That was
so
excellent,
you could
too.
have it for, like your breakfast bread, or you could even use it for
There you go.
a dessert bread.
There you go.
And we're all set. So now
And
we've
I
got,
had some for breakfast this morning.
and it was great.
And I had some last night after our supper, so it was good too.
So it was good. So now we've got 4 loaves that we'll probably share some with our videographers. Maybe stick a couple in the freezer and have it for when the kids come over or whatever.
Right.
So anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cooking with Ruth and Gary. And until next time, happy cooking. You're going to stay right here.
I'm gonna stay right here.
Stop pushing me over, okay?
I just don't want to get this in my view.
Is it in your head?
My head.
It's all in your head.
It is in my head.
Okay, this is coming over here. I feel like I'm playing like
Yeah.
chess
Are you,
or
like, playing the shell
moving
game?
things around, playing the shell game.
I wanted to say that, but I'm on camera probably, and I don't want to, of course, you can't edit it for PG family viewing.